This episode of the Walt Vault podcast is brought to you by Anchor. Anchor is a completely free podcasting tool that allows you to create your very own podcast for no money whatsoever.
You know who should have a podcast? It's me, Yogi.
Oh my god, Gargi, no, what are you doing here?
Yogi heard that people love his voice, so he wants to project it to the world on Apple Music, and iTunes, and Spotify, and Stitcher, and all the places where podcasts are distributed.
Oh my god, Gargi, no, nobody wants to hear you talk.
Yogi can even make money on his podcast with the Anchor's free sponsorship program.
Wait, you're gonna get paid for this too?
Yes, and it's all possible with Anchor and their free creation tools.
Oof, okay, well, I'll bite. What's your podcast gonna be called, Gargi?
It's gonna be Yogi Gets It. Available on all podcast platforms thanks to Anchor.
Well, you've heard it here first. Go to anchor.fm to get started, download the free Anchor app, and you can make your own podcast. Anchor. It's so easy, even Gergi can do it.
Yogi!
Shang-Chi must leave San Francisco to confront his past, battle his father, and kick butt.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with Andre,
Michelle, Emily,
And Luis.
We are a family-friendly podcast where each and every week we watch and review a different Disney movie. Be sure to subscribe on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 162. Thank you.
It's getting weird in here every time we make an intro. Michelle is pantomiming Andre.
Oh, I do that a lot, though.
Yeah, well, maybe it's because I'm sitting across.
This is the first time I noticed it, too.
Watching your lips move.
I don't know. You know, I'm just being me.
Just being made doing
What are we
the
doing
thing.
this week?
This week, we are talking about one of the brand new Marvel films from 2021, Shang-Chi
Shang-Chi.
and the Legend of the Ten Rings,
Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi.
which I believe is the longest title in Marvel history.
Yeah, I don't say "and the Legend of the Ten Rings." I say I'm gonna go watch Shang-Chi.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm not gonna watch Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's a long movie title.
Rings. It's 9 words.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. But it's
And it's not even "and the Ten Rings." It's the Legend.
and the Legend
Just
of
like
the
I
Ten
don't say
Rings.
Avengers Endgame, Avengers
I am
Infinity
so-
War, Captain America Civil War. I just say Civil War Endgame.
I'm
Shang-Chi.
so freaking excited to see how the Ten Rings fit into the Marvel universe.
I know. I'm excited to see them.
It's
Continue.
like the new version of.
You think Danny Rand's gonna get him? He's like, give me those.
Yeah,
my- you
they
guys-
might be.
Oh, I heard that Matt Murdock.
Okay, yeah. Here,
Okay,
let's
hold on.
let's.
We're
should we-
getting, woo,
No, I need to
we're
know.
getting ahead of ourselves.
Hold on. Should we do some first impressions and then talk about that? Because
Let's
I'm gonna
do some
get
first
so excited that
impressions,
she
but
won't even get to talk.
First of all, I have something really cute to tell you guys.
Okay.
So my coworker, my coworker is an avid listener of our podcast.
Shout
Her
out.
name is Yesenia. Hi,
What's up,
Yesenia.
Yesenia?
She came to me today at work and was like, do you want to talk about a work thing first or a life thing first? And we got the work thing out of the way. But then the life thing she told me was very cute, and I think you guys will appreciate it. She has a 4-month-old daughter. And she said her daughter doesn't like car rides even when she's playing the music and things like that her daughter is like screaming and crying. And she said the other day she was like, fine, if she's not going to listen to the music, then I'm going to put on the podcast. And as soon as she put on the podcast, her daughter was quiet and very attentive, napped. And she said then she did it again the second day, and the same thing, that she was very quiet in the car and that she really likes the sound of our voices.
All right.
That's the first and only time any person will like this.
This is the best review we've ever received.
Yes, I know. I was like, that literally made my day. I just told her
That's
that I'm
fantastic.
glad that we could help soothe
Holy
baby
moly.
in the car.
We put babies to sleep.
Family friendly.
And possibly some adults to sleep. I'm not exactly sure
We're family friendly. So,
on the numbers
you know,
on those.
babies like us too.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
That's
actually
a
really
very
cool.
thing. Thank you, Yesenia, and your 4-month-old.
Yes.
Does this 4-month-old have a name?
Her name is Amari.
Oh, thanks, Amari.
Yes,
Amari.
she's very sweet.
Chill out in there.
What?
Your mama's going crazy.
Oh.
You know, she listens to this episode in the car.
Yeah, what if she hears you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Amara.
Amari.
Amari. Relax. All right.
Okay, moving on. We're going to go into our first impressions of Shang-Chi. Luis, I'm going to let you go first. I know you're so excited about this. What's your first impression?
I love this movie.
How many times have you seen it now?
Second time.
Second
It was
time.
only a matter of time before Dragon Ball Z got to the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, and it's here, baby, in full effect.
Dude, I'm a big old martial arts fan. I love those classic, karate movies.
Kung fu movies.
Even like the Americanized karate ones, with the split.
Jackie Chan stuff.
And all that stuff.
Rush Hours.
Dude, they're legit. I've always liked martial arts. So I love this movie.
You were staring into the depths of my soul. I was wondering if you wanted me to say something.
He really likes it.
He experienced the whole movie in those
You know
couple
what?
of seconds right there.
I'm going to agree with Louise. The thing I liked the most about this Marvel movie is that it didn't feel too superhero-y for me. It tied it in enough where it felt like a superhero movie, but I really like when they give like legends and magical backstories, and it feels a little bit more like a fantasy film too, versus just a superhero movie. But every single fight scene was absolutely beautiful. The music was absolutely stunning. The visuals, everything about this movie was awesome. Like, I don't really have any qualms. I really, really like watching the fighting in this movie. So that's refreshing to see a new fighting style.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we got it a little bit in Doctor Strange, a little bit, but it's so much cooler in this one. So cool. So I need to watch some more Kung Fu movies, Lou, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, dude! Oh my gosh, we need to watch Ip Man. We need to watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh yeah, dude.
We need to watch. What's that one? I always forget about the.
Ong Bak.
No, Ong Bak is Thai. Oh, dude, Ong Bak's legit.
Anyways, this movie was absolutely beautiful and cast extremely well.
Agreed.
Emily.
I really liked this movie. I agree with you 100%, Michelle. It's a nice change of pace because, like you said, everything that we've watched, most of the things that we have watched, take Thor aside, but he kind of fits in a little bit. Everything has been like about me. Like self-made man, Iron Man, self-made man, Captain America, Black Widow, all these people came from some kind of training, but then they are who they are. It has nothing to do with like their background, really.
Right.
So like, I feel like Thor, Black Panther, and Shang-Chi have like a, that kind of, not ethereal, but like mystical background that makes them more interesting than just the character because they carry their legend with them. But even Thor is so superhero-y. And Black Panther is pretty superhero-y too.
Right.
But I don't know. At the beginning of the movie, he was less superhero-y.
There was
and then
nothing that
obviously
screamed superhero about him. At the beginning.
Oh, at the beginning, right. But it's interesting because he became...
with all the other ones you knew they were superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
so,
sure.
Anywho,
And they
I
started.
just think that it was really cool to watch kind of the transition of him. And then him as a character, Sean, to Shang-Chi was hilarious. I don't think I've enjoyed a transition of a character more. Even though it was so succinct, it was very enjoyable. So I will give 2 thumbs up.
Andre.
I agree with all of you. This movie is dope. Okay, I like it a lot. I think
And the casting, boom.
I think that this is one of the best, like, singular focused MCU movies since Black Panther.
Yeah. Oh,
You know, the ones that are outside of the big Avengers events and stuff like that. I think that this one does a really good job of introducing you to a cast of characters, getting to know them, getting to know their backstories and their powers. And I think it's all done in a very cool way. I like the progression of like the flashbacks throughout this movie, where like first we see the dad and we see him using the rings and he was cool way in the past. And we see a little bit of Shang-Chi's past and him growing up and learning to use his skills. And then we see Xiaoling's past and her growing up and her using her skills. And I like the way that is interlaced with all the other action that's going on in this movie. And speaking of action, this movie friggin' brings it, dude. There's a bus scene and it is off
That's my
the
favorite
hook.
scene of the movie.
Yeah, that scene is great, but also the side of the building bamboo
Oh my god.
repels
No.
scenes is great.
No.
You know, I think there's a lot of really good action set pieces in this film, and overall, 2 black thumbs.
Too black. I 100% agree with everything we've said.
Yes. I just need everyone to know that if you can hear chomping and chipping, it's not me.
There
okay?
is chomping and chipping, but no, you guys are good. It's
I only
not.
need to bring this up because what we've been eating is a joke. Andre and just had a bowl of tater tots. I too had some tater tots but with some eggs. Okay, and Michelle's just eating a container of strawberries.
Yeah, it was delicious.
She can do what she wants.
I didn't want tater tots. I wanted strawberries.
And now they're just eating.
Dude, if I can eat a bowl full of tater tots every single day, I'm happy. I don't need it. I don't need veggies.
Well, you know what they
That's
say
me with
about your
chicken
fatty
wings.
liver,
Veggies.
Luis. The doctor said none of that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I don't eat a lot of
doctor said
veggies
I'm
either.
Just slightly obese.
I'm also slightly obese, so it's okay. But I'm also pregnant, so you know.
Sure.
Stop.
I don't know if we announced that on the last episode.
We
We
did.
did? Oh, okay, cool.
I'm pregnant. Maybe I wasn't as excited about it then because I was feeling pretty sick.
Okay.
The sickness is coming down, y'all. So this baby about to be babying, I guess, out and about.
Yep.
In this belly.
New podcast, baby.
Doing things.
Okay.
Yeah, except for Dougie, my dog. Sometimes he always jumps on the bed and he usually jumps on my stomach and on my chest. He's been jumping on my belly lately. I'm like, you can't do that anymore, bro. Get off me.
No, he'll know you're pregnant soon. Dogs are weird.
Yeah.
Anywho, moving on.
Did you guys know that the name for tater tots in the UK is oven crunchies?
What? Oven crunchy?
Oven crunchies.
Oven crunchies, that's legit.
I knew that there were
calling it
other
that now.
names for tater tots, and I didn't want to offend our international listeners, so I had to look it up. Oven crunchies in the United Kingdom,
I'm only calling them oven crunchies now.
and
Yeah, that's my new name for them.
but also in Australia and New Zealand, they're known as either potato gems or potato pom poms.
Potato pom.
Potato pom-poms.
That's fantastic. And, you know, Oven Krispies and Potato Pom-Poms are so correct.
They're pretty good names.
No. Speaking of our Australian listeners, we were having some Tim Tams last week. I was like, these are delicious Tim Tams.
Tim Tam.
I had never had a Tim Tam before, and
They're delicious.
they were great.
Thanks, Australia.
You know what we have in America? That's good. What snacks we got here? Marshmallows. Is that an American thing?
Jello, I feel like that's a white
Jello.
We cannot go down this rabbit hole
We don't got our
of snacks.
This is our warm-up question for today. We're talking about food for a second. Yeah, hot dog and apple pie. That's what we got. Not a snack
No,
food,
no
though.
food.
Cracker Jacks, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh, Cracker Jacks.
from
No, what
baseball.
Cracker Jack is?
It's like popcorn and
Andre
peanuts,
loves to eat Cracker Jacks
caramel
at the baseball
popcorn
game.
Oh.
with caramel peanuts, and there's usually a little gift inside. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker
I know it's in the
Jacks.
song, I just didn't know what they were.
Oh yeah,
Oh. Now you know.
now you know, and now you know, listeners.
All right, we're done with our food.
So, yes.
Let us know your favorite snacks, and maybe
International snacks.
I will eat them because I had pickles the other day and I didn't like pickles. So let me know your favorite snacks, and I'll try them and see if my pregnant self likes them.
Oh, okay.
One of my friends...
Or weird food combinations.
One of my friends who was just... she just had a baby, so she was pregnant.
Gotcha.
She's, you know, really Portuguese, and her grandma would always bring back stuff from,
Portugal.
yeah, and the Azores and stuff,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And she was thinking about this one, like, candy or something, and she couldn't find it. She found it on, I don't know.
Amazon, maybe?
I don't think it was Amazon. It was something more obscure than Amazon. I don't think it was eBay. She found it somewhere.
Facebook Marketplace.
And it was like $60 or $70 to well, because of shipping and
Okay.
because it was like super rare.
You had to import it.
And then she got it and posted something about it and was like, this is the most delicious thing I've ever had in my entire life. And then her husband tried it and was like, no,
Big
So,
girls.
I don't know. When you're pregnant, you got things. And when you're the pregnant husband, you also want to have things. So
Right now, they're just basically the only thing that needs to be stocked in the house right now, and I could live off of is chips and chicken wings and bread. It's about all I
Just the one thing is the chicken wings and bread.
3 things. But,
it's fine. Okay,
Fine. All right.
let's get on to the goodness.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Hold on, no. We got to start with Matt Murdock because you said the word, and I wanted.
That's
the
right.
word.
That's right. Okay. So
Matt
some
Murdock.
Marvel news. Some Marvel news. All right.
I thought Luis was lying, so go ahead.
So Kevin Feige was doing an interview with Amy Pascal, who is a Sony producer, so she helps with the Spider-Man movies. They were doing an interview together, and I believe that whoever was interviewing them brought up Charlie Cox as Daredevil. They were just throwing names out there, and Kevin Feige said, "Yes, so going forward, Daredevil will be in the MCU, and he will be portrayed by Charlie Cox.
Okay.
At some point,
I'm gonna pee myself.
He didn't say where he's going to show up. He didn't say when. He didn't say what it would be. He didn't say that the Daredevil show was getting a reboot or anything like that. But Daredevil will appear in the MCU, played by Charlie Cox.
I think I will pee my pants.
I am very excited.
Yeah, he's literally the best.
So does that mean then? This is where it's like, so is the assumption that if he's in it, that the other characters would be in it too? Because
I don't know.
That would be nice.
Because I really, really like all of this.
So
Yeah.
I think at minimum,
We can't have night nurse.
I think at
Something else.
minimum, if we're getting Charlie Cox as Daredevil, we'll probably also get Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk. I think he'll show up.
please!
That would be dope. I
You don't think we'll get night nurse? She's been doing Star Wars things though. Rosario Dawson.
yeah, Rosario Dawson. I'm trying to think if is she in the MCU anywhere else?
no, she's more Star Wars at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know, it's funny because I think, at least on our podcast, I think our least favorite of the Netflix Marvel TV show characters is Danny Rand.
Danny Rand.
Which
Iron
I think
Fist.
is
What's his name?
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist, thank you.
Because what's the other one? Vanessa.
Vanessa is Wilson Fisk's
Oh, Jessica.
wife.
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones.
Jesus.
And then Luke Cage. And The Punisher, of course. All of those shows.
But I think I didn't finish the last season of
Right.
some of them because I knew they were going to go away, so I was like, whatever.
Well, okay, so I think Luis and Andre, have you seen all of them?
I haven't seen Punisher season 2, but I've seen everything else.
So, Luis and I have seen pretty much everything, and I think we can all agree, based on at least what we've seen, that everything is bomb.
Yeah,
Like,
it's all
Oh, for
pretty
sure.
top notch. Once again, Iron Fist has
Danny Rand, though.
quite a few flaws, but yeah, I like all of those shows.
and the reason I'm interested in the Danny Rand part is because you can see so many parallels between this movie and that show.
He's
Right.
from Kamartaj, right? Or no?
No.
He's from Kun
He's
Lun.
from
I get
Kunlun.
them mixed up sometimes.
And
Kun Lun,
Luis
and now-
I were just like, because Luis kept saying that Danny Rand had said that there was 2 entrances to Kunlun, and that we always only saw him on the mountain pass side.
Right.
So if he, Luis like, well, if there's another side, maybe it's Talo. You
Talo.
know, or Talo. You're right. But I don't know because it seems like the same place.
Right.
There's a dragon. It's mystical.
It's mystical.
You can only get there once a year.
How many mystical worlds are there on Earth? You know,
Dude,
I
a
guess
lot, apparently.
quite a few.
Yeah, dude, we don't know the half of it, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember from the comics because you know they throw a lot of stuff and mix a lot of stuff around, but like Kunlun is always Iron Fist's thing. Kamartaj, Doctor Strange goes there sometimes, but I don't think that's like a staple of Doctor Strange's story. Like that might be something that they just added into
the
that
movies a
movie,
lot.
right? And then Talo, I had never heard of, so I don't know if they made that up for this or if it's something from Shang-Chi that I just wasn't aware of, or if honestly it could be like all 3 of those places are one thing and they've been split into these different franchises and whatnot. But yeah, they do all kind of fit together in that mystical martial arts way,
Which I love.
which I like a lot too. So yeah, I would be excited if Danny Rand came back, but
all of those defenders, they were just legit.
yeah, the street level stuff in Marvel is very cool to
But
me.
if you think about it, this is street level, and I like that.
Yes.
I think that's what's cool, even about. I don't know. I guess I know a lot more about Spider-Man than I ever did before, just because of what's been coming out and stuff. But I like the idea of street level heroes.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be
Friendly
so
neighborhood
super
Spider-Man.
to be cool.
Right. So I know that another street level hero that's coming out with his own show is Moon Knight. Moon Knight is going to be a Disney Plus show starring Oscar Isaac, which is going to be cool.
He was Bo Jamin.
Poe Dameron,
Dameron.
yes, from Star
Oh,
Wars.
damn it. Oh, damn it.
That was fantastic. Thank you for that.
You nailed it, Lou. So yeah, Moon Knight is another guy that hangs out with Luke Cage and Daredevil and Spider-Man and these types of characters. So Daredevil could show up there. There's a Hawkeye show that's on right now that some people might show up on by the end of, and Spider-Man No Way Home is coming out at the end of this year. In just a few short weeks.
Tickets for Thursday night. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. We got it. We in there.
Oh, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, would you expect anything else?
Oh, we
less
do.
Of Andre?
Whoa. Where are you going with those?
Oh, I thought you were done with the chips.
Oh,
You thought Louis.
Michelle moved the chips so far away from Louise. So that was the news that came out. We're only confirmed for Charlie Cox as Daredevil, but
Who is Louis so many times was like, I'm pretty sure that he's blind. Because if you watch him,
oh, dude is blind in real life. He has to be.
Charlie Cox is not.
I don't think he is.
Man.
I don't think he's blind.
He's not.
He's just a very good actor.
He's such an awesome
Hey,
actor.
guess what? Did you know this? He's not American either. He's British.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
I just have to say this, okay, y'all British people. Why you got so many awesome actors?
They keep coming over here to try to take our jobs,
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They can take our.
You
They
can
can
take
take
our
our
jobs,
jobs.
but
It's fine.
why are you so good?
It's not my jobs.
Okay.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
But sometimes I don't like it when they do American accents. Sometimes.
Well, yeah, sometimes, but sometimes you don't even know. Like I didn't know.
Tom Holland.
I didn't know it was
Charlie Cox. Pretty much everybody on The Walking Dead.
Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead. Yeah, I was just about to mention that.
The only one I don't like is Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
I don't like.
Oh,
his
when he
American
tries to
accent.
do an American accent.
Yeah,
That's
his
okay.
as
Doctor Strange.
like,
I can hear it. I can tell with him. With all these other dudes, it's harder to tell.
I wonder if it's because I've heard his
I like him
accent so much
Right.
that it's then weird. Because I've never heard Tom Holland speak other than just in an interview,
Right.
not being American.
That's
I've
true.
seen a lot of American movies.
Yeah, where he's doing an American accent.
I don't know.
He's got it down. Benedict
He's
over
also
here.
got that Rihanna dance down. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Every time I
right.
think of him, I think
Every time that comes on my timeline, I'm like, yes.
oh yeah, I gotta watch it every time.
So the way that this movie opens is they're telling the story of the Ten
Of
Rings.
the Legend of the Ten
So
Rings.
technically, it's Shang-Chi's mom telling the story about how mom and dad got together and the legend of the Ten Rings.
The 1,000 years of him.
Yes, they say that he found them in a crater or stole them from a tomb.
Yeah, I wish I knew where they were from, but it seems like we won't know that for a little while.
Yes, that'll come
And Louise,
later. it
what did
seems
you
like.
say, Lou? Because Lou had a Louism.
Dude, I thought they could have been vibranium. Even though they kind of, spoilers at the end say yes or no on that.
Right.
Because the fact that they came from a crater, I'm thinking
They said it wasn't
vibranium rock
vibranium,
was a
but-
meteor that left a huge
That was
crater.
just his thought when they said that. He's like, oh, it came from the meteor that,
Right. That the vibranium came
Yeah.
from as well, which isn't a terrible idea. But they're 1,000 years old, and the vibranium came a long time ago too.
The
I
only
don't know.
because Andre and I have seen Eternals. I know you guys haven't. I feel like it might be related to something like that. Where I know Captain Marvel was saying it's not like alien tech that she's seen, but I don't think it's of Earth. For some reason, I think it's otherworldly.
Yeah, it seems. Well, to me, it seems more mystical in nature than alien-y.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it could be like an
Mystical
Asgard
stuff
kind
from
of
a
thing.
different- Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what I mean. Something like that.
I won't lie, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like alien tech and stuff, but mystical is cool too.
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
I like the amount of mystical stuff that we've gotten
So,
in this phase of MCU.
Shang-Chi's dad decided to basically be a conqueror for 1,000 years. He changed the course of history,
Formed the
basically
10
did what
Rings.
he wanted in his best interest, and formed the 10 Rings. Then he, in his old age, I guess 1,000 years later, was kind of getting bored in the fact that there was nothing left to conquer in the world beside what's the place called?
Ta Lo.
Ta Lo.
I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna call it Talau a lot.
Heard about the
Wow.
legend of Ta Lo and this mystical place where they have a lot of power and things like that. So he decided he was going to go there and take over that place too because he didn't really have anything left to take over.
To get to this place, you got to go through a forest of trees, and the trees are all like little whomping willows, and they're like,
like
you
Narnia.
ain't coming in here, dog. I don't think so. They try to whip you out if you drive through this place.
And it was so cute because, and rewatching it, they just drive straight, and I'm like, how do they know where to go? And they don't. They just drive straight off a cliff, and he gets himself back on. I'm like, he didn't care about none of his friends. Bye.
They ain't his friends, they're his minions.
So he starts walking back through the forest, and personally, my favorite scene of the movie is this first one.
It's a really good
he
scene.
Meets who we find out to be Shang-Chi's mom.
Yes.
And
her name is Ying Li.
She is so gorgeous, okay?
And she's awesome, too.
And so, the most beautiful fighting I've ever seen. It was choreographed into a dance practically.
So she's the guardian of Ta Lo. And he's like, let me in. She's like, mm-mm. And he's like, I'm going to make you let me in. She's like, mm-mm.
She's like, try me, fool.
And so
I know who you
she
are.
literally just mops the floor with him. He's had these rings on his arms for 1,000 years. He's defeated everybody he's ever come up against. And this lady just like airbends him into oblivion.
She's a hardcore airbender, dude.
It was very cool.
I kept calling her the Avatar, so there you go.
Yeah. And this type of fighting is very reminiscent of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like me and Lou were talking about before.
Yeah, that's why Lou was saying I should watch that movie.
Well, they're just like dancing through the air and flying kind of, and she just mops, she whoops him, she tosses him into some water, and he's like, oh my god, that was very hot. I need to marry you now.
Because nothing's impressive.
I was like, this is where the crack in the ball comes in, because we be feeling feelings, okay?
Oh,
we
yeah.
got knocked over.
He felt all kinds of feelings from this
place. Nothing is impressive to him, and he finally meets someone 1,000 years later. He's like, the most impressive.
Right. He didn't even make it all the way into Ta Lo. He was like, this is enough. I'm going to take this and get out of here. So they form a relationship. They get married. They have 2 children, and then he decides to kind of wrap up his legend, or his 10 Rings organization. He puts his rings in a box. He raises his kids, and then we cut to the future, or cut to the present.
And she had to give it up too, to like.
Right. When she left Ta Lo, she gave up her earthbender or water airbender powers.
And I don't blame them. I wouldn't have let him in either. So,
Lou, do you want to talk about the mask at all?
Mask. That protector's mask is so legit. I got a thing with mask.
Oh, the one that it was like a hat mask.
Her mask.
It was made out of like basket.
I guess it's really. I just have a lot of things with like Asian masks.
Yeah, Luis. I don't know what his deal is with masks, but like
I want the blue spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from Avatar.
From Avatar. I want the Kabuki one from Big Hero 6. I want this one. And there's a few others.
He just has this thing.
Oh, I want the one from Black Panther.
Which one?
The one that Killmonger
wore. His horned helmet mask.
That's like one out of nowhere. Just like, dude, I just want to have a wall full of masks.
Bro, let's go. Let's go in on this together. Let's put some of these suckers up. I'm
Stop
ready.
Looking at my walls in my living room. They're not coming
How many
up.
masks can I put on Emily's walls?
They're cool, but also very creepy.
Yeah,
this one was not, but it was cool. I like how it was a half mask with her hat, and she was like, "Come at me, bro.
Try something, bro."
She's also super into him too, though. She's like, no.
Exactly. So they're into each other.
And the music during that scene is beautiful.
Oh,
right.
Cool scene.
I believe we cut to the present now, and
so she, she
gives him the little pendant.
Yeah, so she gives him the pendant. It's like a green jewel of how basically saying that this is how you could get into Ta Lo,
because you're part of that place.
Mm-hmm. And the dad is a good guy now. He's not doing any 10 Rings things. Well, he's now a family man, okay? Family man. Until something bad happens one day.
Yes.
Ka-chow, ka-chow.
Ka-chow, ka-chow, and Ying Li has been killed by unknown assailants. Ying Li has been killed by unknown assailants. This is when Shang-Chi is 7 years old. So after this, Daddy's like, well, I gotta put my rings out my box now and get back into it. And he starts going full hog into 10 Rings organization crime stuff.
It's really hard because I feel for him. Like, I know he's grieving, you know? Like, this is his way of feeling like he's gonna avenge his wife. But then he's, like, taking it out on his son, too. Like, you weren't there to protect her, now you're gonna go kill whoever killed the wife. But I'm like, he was 7. What did you want him to do?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think
I feel bad. Like I hate you.
I think that the dad, like, taking it out on Shang-Chi is partly that he's like kind of blaming him, but I think it's also him blaming himself, saying like,
Sure.
I've dropped the ball. I gotta protect what I have left, which is my family. So I gotta make sure these kids know what they're doing, or at least this one, the boy one. The boy one I'm gonna focus on, and the girl one she can be left to her own devices or whatever. But I'm gonna make sure this kid is not gonna get whooped in the streets at any point in his life. So that starts that. Shang-Chi then begins to train, and then I think the movie cuts us over to the present where Shang-Chi is an adult. He lives in San Francisco. He's not hanging out with his family anymore.
Parking cars.
He parks cars. He's a valet.
Dude.
And his best friend is Awkwafina, Katie. And
Dude, so he gets dressed and he like puts on his tie and he's getting all ready, and Luis is like, dude. And then he's like, I already know what he's gonna be. I already know what he's gonna be doing. And then the nice red BMW pulls up, and then the guy gets out, throws the keys. He's like, he's a valet. He's a valet. And then he catches him like, how did you know that? He's like, I just knew he was gonna be a valet. It was very cute. I was not expecting him to be valet. Okay.
It's a simple job, but somebody's got to do it.
I had a feeling it was going to be a valet for some reason.
I think that was in the trailer, so you might have gleaned it from that if you watched any of them. But
I didn't see any of them. I think it was because he was too well dressed to be living in that slum of a place. I can't really think of any other things where you have to get that well dressed that isn't a valet.
I mean, I guess he could have been like a waiter or something like that. But yeah, one of those types of jobs. Being
literally Awkwafina cast for Katie is the best thing of my life. I love Awkwafina. I have you guys seen Crazy Rich Asians?
Heck yes.
Heck yes.
I love that movie. She's so freaking good at that movie. And Awkwafina is the best.
And we just talked about her in our Raya and the Last Dragon review as well, which she was also very good in.
I ain't mad about it.
Not bad about her casting at all. She's great in this, and not only in that that humorous role, but also as a good support system for him.
Friend.
She is a quirky best friend.
I wonder how much acting she does and how much of that is natural because of the way she walks and holds herself and the way she talks.
I think it's her.
It just seems natural.
Yeah.
Or either that or she has like this really awesome stage persona.
I mean, I've seen her do interviews and things before. I think it's just her personality.
Right.
That's her.
It's interesting. I do want to see her in a role that's completely different from
not funny
from this. Yeah, I mean, it could be funny too, but I think I just need to see her doing something maybe a little bit more serious or more down to earth or something like that, where I can see her do something different. Because I think her career is based on her boisterous personality, which is a great thing, right?
And her voice too.
Yes, her voice. She's like a I'm trying to think of who is a character like that, like a Queen Latifah or somebody that plays the same kind of character in every single movie, basically. Which is Denzel, which is not a bad thing at all. I love her in this.
She's very funny. I just love the way she walks. It's frumpy, but also
with her freaking fanny pack on.
Fanny pack and her fancy pants.
She always has a real fun.
She has some nice pants on.
Oh, so funny.
So they don't take life too seriously, Katie and Sean. They go joyriding in the valet cars they're supposed to be parking. They go and sing karaoke till late in the morning.
Okay, so the best part about the karaoke is they're singing the songs and they're freaking singing Lil Nas X, the Old Town Road song. And so then I read something that said, well, I guess Lil Nas X didn't poof in the snap.
Yeah, he didn't
get snapped.
He didn't get snapped.
His song came
out.
out.
In case you guys were wondering.
Number 1 on the charts,
I got snapped, but Lil Nas X didn't.
She's still bitter that she got snapped.
Neither did me, Lou or Andre. Bye, Michelle.
I'm out here living my life with my new wife, and sorry. So yeah, the movie continues.
Part of your world too.
Yeah, that's right. So they're having a grand old time.
Classic karaoke.
I think Katie's parents are like, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to do something with your life? Blah, 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 blah. Sean gets a postcard in the mail, and he thinks it's from his sister, who he has not seen since he left when he was 14 years old.
Mm-hmm. And we're assuming that's just somewhere in China?
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly where his stronghold is.
I kept thinking it was Nanda Parbat. Am I saying that
Nanda Parbat?
That.
Which one is that from? I can't remember.
Well, it's Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. Batman.
Was that Batman?
Batman. Mm-hmm. Or Arrow. Was it on Arrow? Yeah, that's right. So yeah, he receives this postcard, which he assumes is from his sister. He's like, oh no, he doesn't want to deal with any of that stuff from his past. As he and Katie ride the bus to work, they ain't got cars. He is attacked.
Why would they need cars in San Francisco?
I mean, you can have a car. You could have a car in San Francisco.
No, public transportation if you live in San Francisco.
Sure.
Okay. Well, that's easy for Andre to say because he used to Uber.
Right. I know how to drive in the city, okay?
Did you lift?
We went to San
I
Francisco.
Ubered and lifted.
A couple weeks ago, and I was driving. I was freaking out, dude. Yeah, can't do it.
Right. It's difficult.
Dude, I love driving San Francisco.
Do you?
Yeah, I love it.
Up another hill again. Whee!
Oh, I don't. That's
running over another pedestrian again.
I don't mind the actual traffic, but the hills are kind of something else.
Yeah, the hills are crazy. The traffic is nuts. So they're riding the bus through traffic, and an obvious bad guy comes up to Sean, and he's like, "Hey, I like that pendant. Give me that pendant." And Sean's like, "What? This is like a family heirloom. Get away from me!" And a fight breaks out.
Well, and they're speaking in Mandarin. And I love it when they speak in Mandarin because Katie
Wait, it is Mandarin, right? Not Cantonese?
I believe it's Mandarin, yes.
Like, she like kind of gets it sometimes and sometimes doesn't. So it's funny when she's like, hold on, what? You're not the wrong guy. No.
And she's completely amazed because she's only known Sean as, a cool, funny dude that helps her park cars and they do karaoke and whatnot. And now he is mopping the floor with every dude on this bus. He is beating homies
It's my favorite scene. It's so good. The best part about it is the freaking guy on his cell phone. All right, so we got a fight breaking out. I'm coming at you live.
So that guy, hang on, let me find him.
It was something bizarre because I remember thinking, I'm gonna remember this.
Rev?
His name is Clev. He's played by Zach Cherry, and this character was also in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He's on the street early in the movie, and he sees Spider-Man on top of a building. He's like, "Hey, you're that Spider guy!" And Spider-Man's like, "I'm Spider-Man." He's like, "Do a flip!" Yeah, that's the same guy. So the arc of that character is that he has since moved to San Francisco. He started a YouTube channel, whatever, and now he's blogging and finds Shang-Chi on the bus.
That was so funny.
Hilarious.
Didn't I tell you, this guy needs to be the new Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Just a cameo in every movie.
That would be amazing.
That'd be
I want
hilarious.
vacation in Rome and
Iron Man.
Right? That'd be hilarious.
Anyways, this is my favorite scene in the movie.
Yes.
The fighting in this is absolutely amazing.
It's cool.
And I think the juxtaposition of not seeing Shang-Chi just kind of being in his shell or being silly or whatever.
I have to learn.
And then all of a sudden it was like, this fool knows how to fight.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he was messing dudes up. Very smart, very strategic.
At one point, he took his jacket off, wrapped it around a dude's neck, punched him in the face, and then put his jacket back on. I was like, oh my God.
I know. Or just the way that he's running on the bus. And also, like, the best song in the movie is During This Time, which is like a total rave song, and I can listen to it all the time. But just this fight scene. And then on top of it, the bus, like, falling down the hills at the same time. I was like, I can't. My anxiety is so high, but it's so good.
The bus is completely out of control.
It's
At one point,
so good. You find a dude
the
who
guy
has
like
a
cuts
sword for a hand or
the
something.
brake line.
Yeah, dude. Razor Fist.
Razor Fist.
Razor Fist.
I really wanted it to be Razor Face, but I get it. It can't be.
Like Taser Face from Guardians 2. Yeah, so he's fighting all these dudes on the bus. They're trying to get his pendant. I believe he escapes without them taking it.
No, they get it.
They do take it. They do take it. Okay.
But it's funny too because Aquafina the whole time. What's her name? Katie. Katie the whole time is like, "Who are you?" And then she finally gets in like the driver's seat, like commandeers, and they kind of save it.
Yeah.
But Luis and I were really, really surprised because I'm not saying that these action scenes were shot in San Francisco, like on the streets, but the facades are 100% real because we had gone to San Francisco 2 days before we saw it the first time, and literally had walked exactly where they were, and it was completely, the right angles. I don't know how to explain that.
I believe I watched a behind the scenes on the making of this scene in particular, and I think they reconstructed like an entire bus that was a little bit wider so they could shoot it and stuff like that, and then shot it over like a week long. And I think they used the same technology that they use in The Mandalorian, where they have like a gigantic blue screen that they can kind of fill with whatever background that they want, and they put the bus in there and had that running San Francisco along the sides and stuff like that. And we're able to capture it all.
Those shots of San Francisco were real, which I think is really cool. Instead of it just being like, because the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Look, the Coin Tower, ooh, Alcatraz. Like, yes, those are real places.
Pier 39.
Yes, those are real places. But I just appreciated that the backgrounds and everything were done well. Right. It didn't look funky.
Exactly.
And then she looks at the other.
It was a garbage truck.
She's like, look, we did it together. Good teamwork. And he's like, oh my God.
Lady, you ruined my job.
She's also crazy.
Hilarious. Crazy.
So Katie is pissed. Sean's running to his apartment and she's like, who are you? Like, what is happening? You owe me an explanation. I'm your best friend, right? And he basically just tells her, like, I don't have time to talk about this right now, but this is a postcard from my sister, and I'm going to... Is he going to Singapore or
Macau?
Macau, thank you. He's like, I'm going to Macau, because this is where she is, and this is my sister. And she's like, you have a sister? Mm-hmm. What? I'm coming with you. And I feel like I would probably almost do the same thing. Like, this sounds crazy. I'm going. I just park cars. I just park cars for a living. Like,
I'll get another valet job.
I will lose my job for this.
Right.
Like, I need to know what's
no
up.
problem. Absolutely. I don't think she even called.
And I mean,
like, we'll talk about it in the airport.
Yeah, on the plane.
On the plane.
And whether they like to admit it or not, I immediately was like, their chemistry is so good. Like, they're totally going to be a couple one day. I know that they're just best friends. So... yeah, if I was her too, I'd be like, we going. I don't know, you're tripping, you need someone to protect you. Clearly you can defend yourself, but I'm gonna still go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So he tells her his life story on the plane. She goes, wait a minute. Your name, you changed your name to Sean, where your name was Shang.
Before that, she says the whole story about how he had to, like... he was sent to, like, kill that person, and then he just couldn't do it and never came back, or whatever. And then she's like, that's crazy. But your name was Sean? Like, that's what she took away from this. Shang to Shang-Chi. Okay. Really smart. But I also thought that was
He's like, I was 15!
But that was also the most clever thing to me. I was like, yes.
And I think, honestly, it's a really brilliant tool of the movie to teach you how to say his name.
Yeah.
Oh, Sean. Like Sean. Like Sean. Like Sean.
Yeah.
Like Sean. Like Sean. Like Sean. Like Sean.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
Okay, that's still the American way of saying it.
I mean, sure.
Shang-Chi? That's the American way of saying it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Shang-Chi, still the same way. American way.
No, but better than Shang.
Right. Yeah, that was to prevent everyone from saying Shang.
I do appreciate, though, how he goes back into telling the story, and then he's like, and then...
Oh,
he's a vegetarian.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me?
Okay, you see they're going through a serious conversation right now.
Well, beef. It's like, oh, actually, we're out of the beef. So, vegetarian.
Literally can only have what's left.
So stupid. So funny. And what do you want? The same?
I'm half vegetarian as well.
Whatever you freaking have left, okay? So they get to Macau, and they meet up with this dude, and he takes them to the address that they're looking for, okay?
They're going to an underground fight club.
Hell yeah, I would so go to one of these things.
I mean, this place is crazy,
It
right?
looks insane. You got Wong there, okay, everybody's hanging out.
So, remind me, because, like, he walks in, he starts talking to the guy, and then he has to sign something or scan his phone or something like that. And when he signs up, he is signed up to fight.
But he didn't know he was signing that.
Right. So if he wasn't him and if Katie had signed and she had to fight, she just would have got destroyed, I guess.
I
right?
just love it because he's like, ooh, bus boy. He's like speaking in Mandarin.
Oh, that's right. That's why they signed him up, is because they had seen the video of him fighting on the bus.
He's speaking in Mandarin, and then he's like, do you speak English? He's like, I speak ABC.
I speak ABC.
Like, oh my God.
That's hilarious.
And then,
dude, I've seen that guy from somewhere.
Yeah.
Familiar.
I believe that dude is a comedian or a comedic actor. Let me find him.
So he starts, while you're finding him, they start going through the fight scene, and there are like cage rooms, really. They're not cages, but they're in like their different rooms where there's just all kinds of crazy people, cages, types of creatures.
There's all kinds of stuff in there, right? There's like aliens and monsters.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're fighting, and he's like, Katie's like, oh my God, is he going to fight someone like that? He's like, oh no, these are low-level fights.
These are small-time fights.
Oh, okay.
The actor's name is Ronnie Chang. He was also in Crazy Rich Asians. That's probably what you saw him in.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
I need to watch that again now.
That was a good movie.
Right?
I really want to watch that movie.
Me too.
Can you read the book first?
Yeah.
So anyways,
You know how many books I need to read?
who's currently fighting in the big ring? It's freaking Wong versus the Abomination.
The Abomination.
And I love Wong so much.
This is apparently the same Abomination that was in the Incredible Hulk movie, which is very cool. Very, very cool. So Wong kind of mops the floor with the Abomination, which is really cool to watch, right? He does 2 portals and has him punch himself in the face, which is dope.
We've talked about, like, every time we talk about the sorcerers, I bring up the thing from the X-Men. The girl who did the same thing.
Blink, yes.
Oh my gosh, I think that's such a cool power.
It's a very cool power to be able to create
Because then
these
you can use anything
teleporting
against
portals.
someone. So cool. Well, Violet kind of does it too in The Incredibles, no? Is that what she
No, she doesn't
No,
do it.
it's the other girl.
Yeah, the new one in Incredibles 2. I don't remember what her name is, but she has like green portals that she makes.
Sorry.
So Wong's fight is over, and he and Abomination go meet up in the locker room or whatever, and apparently they fight like this all the time. It's kind of like WWE.
He takes it back through the portal.
Gotta watch out for that one, buddy. So now it's Shang's turn to fight. He gets in there and he's like, okay, who am I fighting? I don't know what's going on. And who should step into the ring? But
he's trying to find. He keeps asking her for her name.
Right. Who?
Zhongling.
Zhu Jialing. Zhu Jialing.
Okay, so he is
Zhu Shang-Chi. Yeah.
So
Zhu is their family name.
It's like their
or
last
dad.
name.
I believe it's the dad's name. Yeah.
It's like
His name is Zhu Wenwu.
Yeah.
So Zhu is the family name, and Wenwu is his first name. So Zhu Jialing.
Wenwu is the dad, huh?
Yeah, Wenwu is the dad. So Jialing comes in, and he's like, "Hey, I recognize you. You're my baby sister." And then she wallops him. She beats the crap out of him.
Yeah.
She was very angry, very upset. He never came back when he left at 14 years old, leaving her all alone with crazy Daddy-O.
For another 6 years.
Yes, for another 6 years.
Well, I mean, I guess for another 10, if you want to be technical.
Right, yeah. She stayed there until she went out to forge her own destiny or whatever. So after the fight, she explains to him and to Katie that, she was left alone. Dad never let me train like he did with Sean, so I had to watch and learn myself, and I had to develop all these skills myself, and now I'm out here trying to make a legacy and a career for myself.
You know what I love is that Katie's freaking hyping her up.
I know.
She's
like, yeah, girl, do it.
Yes, do it. And Shang-Chi is just like, oh, my sister. And she's like, your sister's so cool. Like,
well, Luis and I agree that I am very happy with the way they portrayed the sister, because she could have been like F you and the horse you rode in on,
right,
like to Katie.
Yeah.
And she's just like,
I like your pants.
yeah, you're cool. All right. Like she's not ever mean to her.
No, absolutely
she
not.
just kind of accepts her. And I mean, yeah, they kind of leave him for dead right now. But
Sure.
I mean, like throughout the rest of the movie, the sister lets go of a lot really quickly.
Right.
And she could have been like constantly bringing it up, and she's like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
Makes sense.
We all messed up.
Right. We all took our different paths, and it's okay for us to come back on this one. So they're talking for a little bit, and then Jialing leaves. And then they are attacked again because even though Sean's pendant was stolen, Xialing has a pendant as well. So the 10 Rings homies show up and start trying to kick butts. And Shang-Chi has to jump out the window and go out onto the scaffolding with Katie to save their lives.
I did not do well with this scene.
And they fight on the scaffolding, and it's another crazy, awesome fight scene. I really like this one. This one's dope.
I heard it was like an homage to a Jackie Chan movie where they did like a similar fight scene.
Rush Hour 2.
Oh, Rush Hour.
Rush Hour 2 is set on there's a fight scene on a scaffolding as well. There's, it's very parallel, right? Because in the Rush Hour movies, there's Jackie Chan and there's Chris Tucker, who is his partner. And Chris Tucker is like a bumbling buffoon in that type of movie, whereas Katie kind of takes that role in here. So they're fighting on the scaffolding in Rush Hour 2, and Jackie Chan keeps having to beat dudes up, save Chris Tucker, beat more dudes up, save Chris Tucker again, and and it's kind of similar here where Shang-Chi has to beat dudes up and save Katie. Although twist in this is that at one point Shang-Chi can't get to Katie when she is about to be in trouble, and Zhu Xialing has to come in and save Katie, which is very cool.
Eds can't stand that dude. That dude's mask I want too.
So yes,
can't stand how he's kind of like ragdolly.
Right, he's crazy. So we're talking about the Death Dealer is his name. He comes in.
Is he a big homie in like the universe?
I had never heard of this character before.
For him to have that kind of name, I feel like
right, yeah, it seems like it, but
that freaks me out the way he moved.
But I mean, with how much he's in this movie, but also not in this movie, I don't know how big of a character he is. It seems like from the story perspective, it's this dude that the dad keeps around to kind of put the fear into all the trainees, right? So he's a really good fighter and he's a strong warrior.
I didn't know he had a name though.
But yeah, he is the Death Dealer.
Oof.
Yeah, and he was sick too.
It was very cool, but also very creepy.
Yeah, so Shang-Chi has to fight this dude, and he hasn't fought him since he was a kid or whatever, and he is able to take him out. And then his dad walks in and is like, my boy, I told all these idiots they weren't gonna be able to kill you, and look at that, you're still alive. I did it. I knew it.
Okay, good for you, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
That's like
I said we could kill you, but they didn't.
You couldn't have come when my homie was hanging by a bamboo.
Right? Yeah.
I didn't say nothing about your friend. Okay.
Right. So apparently this is all a bit of a test, but he also did want to get those pendants back. So he takes Sean, Xialing, and Katie all back to home base.
And she asked for it.
Right, yeah, she wanted to ride along, and now you're really riding along, homegirl. They go back home where the dad
In a helicopter.
explains that he has seen images of their mother. She's alive and she is in Ta Lo. All we got to do is go to Ta Lo and we'll be able to get your mom back. Join me, kids. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, and literally as he's saying things, I feel bad because I know he's still grieving. You know, I can hear your mother like she's right there talking to me, and Shang-Chi and Xialing, they're trying to be like, Dad, she's gone.
Right.
Like she's not here.
She's not here.
And he's like, no, like she's literally there.
No, I heard it.
And then he shows them the pendant thing.
Mm-hmm. So with the two green pendants, he puts them into a statue of a dragon as the eyes, and they wake up this mystical magical water well map thing, and the water mystifies and shows a map as the way into Ta Lo. So you got to drive into this direction to get through these trees, and you'll wind up at the entrance to Ta Lo. So he sees that. He tells them that he's going there.
And he said like he'll take her by force if he has
to, if need be. So then he puts the kids in the dungeons.
Yeah, they don't agree with it.
Right.
So he's like, whatever, get out of here.
Like, no, Dad, this is crazy. So they go down to the dungeons and they meet.
Oh my god.
A character.
Em just couldn't believe this guy was in this movie.
You guys watched the little thing before, right? The clip thing?
Yeah, so we told you to watch, what was that thing called?
All Hail the King.
All Hail the King, which is a short that came out after Iron Man 3.
Dudes, it came out in 2014.
Yeah, quite a long time ago.
It's so funny.
Oh my god.
It follows the character of Trevor Slattery, who was the bad guy in Iron Man 3. He is the actor portraying the Mandarin, right?
I'm an actor.
and in that short, he is in prison and he's being interviewed by what he thinks are like the police or the FBI or something like that. And he's just telling them all candidly his story or whatever. And then it's revealed at the end of that short that the guy who's interviewing him was a member of the 10 Rings. The real 10 Rings.
Yeah.
Who was the actor who was doing it?
Some random white guy.
Yeah.
He was very familiar looking.
I can't remember that dude's name off the top of my head. But yeah, that dude. I think he was in Batman v Superman. Never mind. I can't.
But they break him out.
Yes.
They break him out and basically...
And FYI, he was in Seagate, which I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where Luke Cage was. That's why I was interested in it.
Right. Seagate Prison, which is cool. So yeah, the 10 Rings breaks him out.
They're
Takes
sitting
him,
basically to kill him.
I suppose, but that's not what ends up happening,
Yeah,
right?
that's what he said, though. He said that
That's what we're assuming.
they broke him out to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But then as he was about to get killed, he started doing Macbeth impressions.
And they're like, wow.
The lads enjoyed it, and I've been doing
gigs ever since.
Doing gigs every week since.
And he just lives in the freaking dungeon.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna die. It's
So, homie has just been a court jester for the past, 10 years or whatever.
And you know the best part is that he has like a dressing room.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
He's got wigs.
He's got all of his stuff. And in the corner, he has his Liverpool scarf.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
he's from Liverpool.
Probably better than jail, dude. I'd probably rather live in
British
that
to
dungeon.
the end.
Get
Yes,
some food.
exactly.
I get to act still.
He also has a little friend,
He's kind of
apparently.
having the time of his life.
Yeah, he's
Good crowd,
this
it's
is
always there.
His best job he's ever had. So yeah, he also has a little friend named Morris.
Oh.
This is
Morris.
I can't even describe what this thing is. What
It
is
looks like a badger with wings
And no face.
and no face.
It's not. It's like a fat.
Badger.
It's like a Furby.
It's like the back of a bear.
I don't know what it
But on
is.
both sides.
It's a very weird
They didn't
creature.
say what the creature's called.
No, they didn't name the creature. Well, they named him.
Morris.
It's
I'll name
Morris.
it Creature.
And Trevor Slattery can talk to Morris, like he can understand him for whatever
Only because he's
reason.
been there for 10 years and now he knows his language.
I assume it's drugs. But he can understand him, and Morris also knows the way to Ta Lo because he is from there. He is one of the creatures, the mystical creatures from Ta Lo.
That they found on one of their missions.
Yes, exactly. So Trevor agrees to lead them to Ta Lo so that they can chase after their father and get him to stop this craziness that's going on with his mother.
While they're talking to Trevor Slattery, the freaking sister, Charlene, just breaks out of the dungeon.
She busts
She's
through a wall.
There's underground tunnels in here. That's how I broke out when I was a teenager.
All right.
So they go to the garage, steal a car, break
Razor
out.
fists.
Razor fist car
Poor Razor.
with razor fist written on the license plate.
Yeah, and they steal his car and escape. And the dad is just fine, let them go. They'll come home when they see I bring their mom back.
Right.
It's so sad. And he says to prepare the troops, basically.
Because he's going to Ta Lo as well.
He's going to war, okay? He ready to throw down to get his wife
Bring his
back.
wife back. I think at some point in here, I can't remember exactly where it is or how it's delivered, but we find out that, the dad is wrong. He is not hearing his wife.
We don't figure that out until we get
That's
there.
later? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
He doesn't know for a while.
Okay.
So they get in the car and they go to the forest and they're just sitting there talking to Trevor Slattery about his life and how he's an actor
Your favorite
with
part?
the freaking monkey movie.
Dude, my favorite part is
Oh my God.
when I was watching it, I was so amazed. I couldn't believe it. They got monkey actors. And then my mom pat me in the head and said, "Oh no, son. Those monkeys, what was the exact words?"
I think she says they're just pretending to be monkeys.
No, they're just pretending. And then he's like, and then it dawned on me. Those monkeys were only acting that they were riding a horse. And I was like...
And that's
And everyone's
the
like,
reason he's an
"Whoa."
actor.
And he's like, so the whole trajectory of your life was based on that? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I love that guy.
That's
Kevin
so
Slatter, dude.
so
But I love
funny.
that Katie humors him. Like she listens to him. Like okay.
I mean, you can't tell him, right? You can't tell him that it's just people in monkey suits. He'll his whole brain will break.
Seriously, his life would explode.
It's freaking hilarious, dude.
So funny. So
Eventually, the little creature thing says, "It's time to go. Let's go." And thank goodness, Katie's a really good driver.
yeah,
You know,
driving
so
all them
she
valet
freaking
cars.
whips it.
What did she say? She's the Asian Jeff Gordon.
Yeah. So she whips it through the
He's like,
forest,
I'm gonna-
and they make it out alive, barely, and they
Barely,
get to
it's
the
very
end.
Stay in the
close.
pocket. Stay in the
Stay in the
pocket.
pocket.
In the pocket, straight up pocket. You might want to speed up a little bit. So they make it. They have to go through a waterfall, and then next thing you know, they're in Tao Lo. And Tao Lo is absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
There are definitely Ninetales chilling there.
Oh,
Okay?
dude.
It's Pokemon World.
It's Pokemon World.
It is. There's
Like a
Pokemon
real-life
all over the
Tell me
place.
it's not Pokemon.
The freaking lion things are so stinking cool.
Yeah, dude, that's an Arcanine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so there are mystical creatures
Everywhere.
all over this place. They meet up with the people of Talo, and they're like, "Hey, stop! Who are you? What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. This is a mystical place." And then Shang-Chi pops
Sorry,
out,
yeah.
and the aunt comes out. So this is their mom's sister. She's like, "Oh, we've been waiting for you.
She's so cool.
We're so glad that you're finally here." And they kind of welcome them in with open arms, which is nice. Katie's having a really cool vacation, honestly. This is pretty dope.
She has seen a lot
Exactly.
in a week.
Exactly.
Honestly, I just feel like Katie could be in any family. Like she would just walk in and be like, "What's up?" Like, I'm part,
What's
like
going
she's
on?
so adaptable. I think she hugs the aunt. She's like, "Hi." Like, cool.
It's so nice
I'm
to
gonna
meet
go
you.
deliver these bows and arrows. Okay, what are we
Right.
doing?
She gets right
so
to work.
this is where the aunt tell the aunt the story
Mm-hmm.
of what the dad was saying, and she tells them the story of Tao Lo.
Right.
Like, we're here to protect. There's this. What is it? What do they call it? The soul sucker.
The mega soul sucker.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
soul sucker thing.
So there's a soul sucker that they-
years and years and years ago, Tao Lo was really, this mystical land wherever they are was really, really big. Had lots of really big cities.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But this monster came and basically sucked all their souls away.
decimated the
And
land.
they wouldn't work together to defeat them. But the people of Tao Lo finally came together and defeated it, and now they're the guardians
Right.
of that.
They've trapped it behind
honestly,
an
most of the
impregnable
people
wall.
in this land or universe, it seems to have been like decimated.
Yes. There's this one village left that's all that stands between the world's devastation or whatever. So she tells them that that's what their job is, that's what they're here for, and that is what is calling to your father.
Yeah, he was like, this isn't the first time that this has happened.
The mega soul sucker can implant like visions in your mind and stuff like that. And so it's enticing Wenwu to come back to open the portal
Especially
so it
'cause
can
he's so
escape.
strong.
Right. Yeah, that's why it's affecting him so strongly because he holds the rings. So the aunt teaches Shang-Chi some Talo stuff, some how to whip it and whip it good, you know.
He becomes an airbender.
Yeah, she shows him some airbending moves that I guess he just like inherently has since he's there in Talo.
He actually I think he learned a little bit of it when he was
From
a
his
kid
mom.
from
Right.
his mom.
Right.
Because there was a scene where she was having him open his hands instead of close them into
Yeah.
fists, like
That's
what
right.
the dad was teaching and things like
That's
that.
right. It's a
So I
different
think
style.
he knows it, but like hasn't embraced. Like she was saying, you need to embrace both sides,
Right.
You know, and then you'll be a better fighter for it. She gives the sister whatever her. Did we ever figure out what that
It's
weapon's
a
called?
rope dart.
A rope dart.
That's what it's called that
So
she uses.
cool.
She said,
Very
and
cool.
she was like, "You can train here. Like we train ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not in your father's
We
house."
train the ladies.
She's I think
Ladies
she
train.
says you're not in your father's house anymore.
Right.
She was like, "You're here." So the sister gets to train there, and then freaking Katie
Katie.
just gets wheeled into learning how to be freaking Hawkeye. Okay?
She gets a bow and arrows, and they're like, "All right,
And
love."
it's like the
shoot
elder,
target."
that dude. I freaking love him.
Yeah.
and he's just like,
The Gobong or something.
There you go.
That's probably not how you say it, but I just remember him, she's like walking with the arrows and stuff, following the lady, And she's like, yeah, I just think it's so cool that you guys all like know what you want to do and that you just go for it. You know, I just get like moderately good at something and then I just move on. I feel like I'm just not going to do very good. So, you know, that's really awesome. And then they're like, okay, shoot. And she's like, what? Shoot.
You can stick with this. Exactly. But
Like,
she,
sorry, Kate, you getting put to work here.
she
now.
gets pretty good at it. You know, she's hitting these targets. She's not a bad shot. So they're
I
training
think it
there.
is like Galbo or something like that. She's like, look, I hit it. And he's like, whatever, dude.
Let's see. I don't think it says his name in here.
He was funny too, though.
Gaolei. Gaolei.
I don't think that's him.
I don't think it's Galbo.
Oh.
But whatever.
Okay. I'll keep looking. I don't see it. So they're there for a little while. I would say maybe a day or two.
They're training, and they get special armor that the mom left for them. So all of their stuff is
Made of dragon
with
scales.
dragon scales, which is the only thing that can defeat the monsters.
Right.
So regular arrows and weapons and things won't work. It's only dragon scales that will work.
That will work against the soul
And they were
suckers.
basically saying the dragon is asleep.
Yes,
So
and has not woken up.
He's in hibernation. She's in hibernation.
Exactly.
I want to know where they get the skills from, though.
The dragon?
Like, how
I think from leftover, like from the fight or something.
So in
They probably foraged like
It
a
said
bunch
that
of
the dragon gave it to them.
right, and there's a video game that I played, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and there are these like Chinese style dragons that fly across the countryside or whatever, and every once in a while they'll just like pop off a scale. And you can go and collect it and use it in your crafting or whatever in the game. So I don't know if it's exactly like that, where the
So
dragons
they were
just
like,
kind of just shed some scales.
snake.
Hey, y'all want some
Yeah.
scales? You know, and do that.
That makes sense.
But I assume that's what happens and
yeah.
how they forge their weapons
So, they're basically preparing to go to war.
for battle. Yes.
For battle, because
Bye, Daddy.
the dad is not going to take no for an answer, right? So then Shang-Chi has a heart-to-heart with Katie, and didn't he say he actually did kill that dude?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He
so
tells
he had
him.
lied to her and said he didn't kill the person who murdered his mom, but he actually did.
Yeah.
And he couldn't live with himself or whatever.
So that's why he ran away.
That's why he ran away. And he was like, I will kill my dad tomorrow,
Right.
like if I have to. And Katie's like, what?
It's interesting, though, because I think she was a really awesome, friend, obviously, but like, she sympathized well. She was like, well, your dad turned you into an assassin
Killing
at
machine.
15,
What
so,
were you gonna do?
You know, you can only do what, you're
What you
taught
know.
at that
Black
point.
Widow right there.
And that's when he's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna have to kill him. And she's like, ooh, good. Okay.
Okay.
You know? I
Indeedy.
appreciate that, though, instead of being like, no, you can't do it.
Right.
I mean, if it comes down to it, the superheroes gotta do what the superheroes gotta do. You
Gotta
think
do.
Captain America wasn't up in there killing people? He probably definitely was.
Yeah.
How could he have
He's a-
killed
he's a
anybody
soldier.
with those kicks?
Right. Yeah.
The shield.
We were watching this.
Seriously?
What was the thing we were watching, babe?
What thing?
Where they were remaking the Marvel things to be realistic and not.
There's a YouTube channel called Corridor, and they're special effects artists, and so they made several scenes in Marvel movies rated R. So they had
Like Captain America throws his shield and it hits a dude in the head, but they made the dude's head fall off.
Yeah,
That's probably
like,
what would happen. It's made of
decapitates him.
vibranium.
Yes, which is
so they
crazy.
were trying to make them more realistic, and I was like, "Oh, this is sick."
Can you imagine Thor's hammer hitting somebody?
Yeah, it's not just
yeah.
gonna knock him back.
It would be
How
quite,
did it go through
quite
that?
painful.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a hammer-sized hole in your chest.
Yeah. So that was fun. In case you guys are interested in that stuff,
Right.
We liked watching it.
It was quite interesting, entertaining. So the dad shows up, right? He and his army,
Posse, his 10
his
rings
homies.
with the claw.
They all show up. They start attacking the gate that is holding back the mega soul sucker. And he's like, my wife, she's in there. And as he breaks through, some of the little soul suckers start getting out.
Yes.
They start attacking the village. Katie jumps into action. She starts slinging that bow.
She's doing pretty
She's
good.
doing a really good job.
Yeah, pretty good. But I think there was a point where the ant, they're fighting them, right? And then once the little mini soul suckers come out, they were like, we have to work together or else we are all dead. And the claw guy is like, whatever, I don't care, you
Razor
know.
fist.
And then I think he sees like what one of them does, and he was like, okay, guys, we're gonna fight.
We're going to work together.
We're gonna fight these things instead. He like takes his whatever sword or hand he has off of his claw and puts on one of the like dragon scales.
Yeah,
things
he gets a
instead.
dragon knife.
It's pretty cool.
Dragon razor fist.
So they're having to deal with all that, and honestly, it's a lot. Those things are really creepy looking.
What did you say they look like?
The
Grindylos.
Grindylos. the small little tentacled creatures from
Oh my
from
god,
Harry
they're
Potter.
Grindylos with freaking wings, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, like little
more
bats.
disgusting.
It's terrifying.
They look more bat-like than like dragon.
Yeah, for sure.
They're super creepy on the outside, and then they attack you by sucking out your soul, which
Yeah,
is
that's-
worse. It's so bad.
No, I like my soul.
I like to
actually.
keep my soul
Yeah.
exactly where it is,
Some
please.
dementia.
So it's a Dementor Grindylow.
Demento Grindylo.
Basically. So Shang-Chi sees that his dad's over there trying to break down the wall, and so he's like, I have to go over there, right? So basically he tells his dad, like, I'm not afraid of you, and he's like, you are afraid of me, bro. Like, don't act like you're not afraid of me. And
so afraid
they're
of my dad,
fighting
too.
back and forth, and his dad
We all afraid of our dads, let's be real.
shuts him down.
Dude, my
Oh,
dad
yeah.
was
Like,
still with
he
my
goes in the
behind.
water and starts sinking, and I was like, he basically fully was prepared to kill his son.
He
right
did.
there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He was like, get out of my way.
Right.
Like, nothing's going to stand between me and my deceased wife, who he thinks is alive. But that's why, like, I sometimes I like villains like this, and I can't even really call him a villain, you know, where they're, like, so conflicted. I'm like, that's all he wants. It, like, breaks my heart. It's, like, really sad.
It was the one thing that made him good.
The only thing, basically, you know. So, yeah, homeboy is sinking to the bottom.
under the water.
And the dad is, like, getting a lot of those little things out.
Right.
So he's sinking
He's
to
getting
the
to the wall.
bottom, and then, luckily the dragon wakes up.
Luckily, there's a sleepy dragon down here. He's like, oh, Sean, you're here. Okay.
Hey, Sean.
Let's go beat up your dad. All right, here we go.
Let's go beat up your dad.
Is that what he sounds like? All right, here we go.
Here we go. And then he flies up out of the water, and the dragon is awake, baby.
Here
And
we
the
go.
dragon looks really cool in this movie.
Yeah, and the dragon is, like, eating the little mini soul suckers, like, and he drops
need a
Shang-Chi
snack. I've
off
been
at
hungry.
the-
He needs the after nap snack.
So Shang-Chi
Coming out of
is, this
hibernation,
time
bro.
he's like, I'm not afraid of you, Dad. And they start
Daddy.
fighting. But eventually the
Dada.
dad gets the big soul sucker out.
Yes.
But
It escapes.
Shang-Chi's like coming into his own. He's learning how to fight. He takes the rings
So
a couple times from his dad at some point, and I couldn't tell if he was just doing, because he was doing the airbending thing, that's why he was able to take the rings. So I almost wonder if the rings were from there.
from Talo itself.
Yeah, or from that realm.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be.
I don't know.
know.
This part of
But
No,
the
he
he said the
took
rings. He said the rings weren't from there.
weren't from this.
Well, he
found
took
them
them
like-
pretty easily,
Who?
honestly.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Well,
Well,
I
if you
mean,
think about it, when he does the 10 rings, he
she
throws
did too.
them.
Remember?
You know what I mean? If he's
took
throwing
them.
them
Right.
and
Yeah, I know.
he's almost like intercepted them. I don't think he like took them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
But he was able to swoop them.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because, like,
And then
the-
instead of blue, they turn like gold.
yeah, the way that Wenwu fights with them is that they're on his arm and he can push out energy blasts or he can throw the rings and recall them back, right? Well, when Shang-Chi is fighting him and Wenwu throws the rings at him, Shang-Chi is able to use the airbending to reclaim the rings for himself, and they just float around him in a golden magical light.
7 rings of power.
Yes, and this aspect of Shang-Chi's abilities, I'm still legitimately confused about. Like, is it that since he has like blood from Ta Lo that he's able to do the airbending all the time, or is it only because he's in this place where
I don't
Ta
know.
Lo is? Right.
Well-
we don't even really know.
Ooh,
huh?
that's an interesting one.
Well,
'cause
Mom
was
could
able
do
to
it.
do it
But
Out-
Mom
outside
lost
the-
her powers when she wasn't there.
when she
No,
left, but
when
is that
she was
because
outside.
she's
Dragon, they said that the dragon gave them these powers, remember? So the mom was saying that after this, the dragon, they get their power from the dragon.
From the
So I think if they're not near the dragon, then their power goes away.
That's interesting because also, Shang-Chi, when he falls into the water, I think it's like him that wakes the dragon up. The dragon's like, oh, what's going on with this dude? This dude seems interesting and special or whatever.
Hey, Sean.
And so when he gets the rings and he uses them, we see later in the post-credit scene that like
they say, when you use the rings, we felt it. Right?
But he used them for good, I think, was the difference. Because at the very beginning of the movie, they were saying he could have used the rings for good things, but the dad decided to do destruction, and I think that's why they were blue and things like that.
Gotcha.
Like he could
so
have,
it's all about intent.
I think so.
With the rings.
What's odd is that, like, if you noticed, the rings really just kind of went with whoever was the strongest at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's like they're almost, how should I, kind of like ring based. No.
They're like sentient. They can.
Yeah.
The wand
like,
chooses the wizard.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's kind of weird because it's like anybody, I don't know how. It
I
just
mean-
leaves the
It's-
door open for
Well, it's more mythical.
Kang the Kanker.
And with some
Right,
of the
sure.
stuff
The cankerer.
at the post-credit
Canker,
scene,
the Canker sword.
some of the stuff with the
Kang the
post-credit
canker
scene,
sword.
that kind of makes sense.
I'm done. Kane the Kanker.
So yeah, regardless of how it works, it's very cool when Shang-Chi uses the rings, right? So he's battling his dad.
Emily said he's like Iron Man.
He becomes Iron Man
He
practically,
uses
which
them
is.
to boost off the ground and fly.
It reminds me of, was that Iron Man 1 or 2 where he did like the Tinkerbell thing? Was that the first one?
Yeah, that's the first one.
He looked like that, where he's like, "Ee!"
Yes, exactly.
Which I know they hated that, but it's funny.
So it's very cool. He's fighting his dad, but the Mega Soul Sucker is running amok, right? So the Mega Soul Sucker grabs on to Daddy-O, starts sucking up his soul, and the dad's like, what are you gonna do? You know, whoops, sorry, kid.
Because I think he knew at that point he was wrong.
He
you know,
knew at that
but
point that
he
he
was
was,
like,
he was
Dafoe.
wrong.
He's like, I messed up. So
Don't tell Harry.
He gives the rings to Shang-Chi and then basically dies.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
He hands over the power of the rings to Shang-Chi. His whole soul gets sucked out. He's dead. And then
It's really good because that dude didn't have to say a lot of words in his acting. It was like all in his eyes. Like
Tony
his
Leung
facial
is
expression.
Very good.
I'm like, I could see the pain in his eyes, you know, like he was a very good
He did
actor.
a really good job throughout this whole movie. I really like as you said, the dichotomy.
He's so
between,
small.
like, you can't really call him a villain, even though he is the leader of a major crime organization that's 1,000 years old. So he is a villain, but at the same time, his motivations are very clear and very reasonable.
He's not a classic villain.
Sure. So,
But it's funny because, and I don't want to get in a huge villain debate, but it's funny because when you think about, I guess it's just scale, but like we could talk about Thanos all day not really being a villain.
Yeah,
Sure.
for sure.
Because,
All villains have a motive.
you know, but like his are more pure, honestly. It's more his tactic than
Right.
this guy.
yeah.
But I guess it comes down to the way that you're willing to get it, right?
The way that you operate. Yeah.
But,
Ones can say Punisher is a villain, you know.
oh,
Right.
No,
Punisher's
he's not.
Kills a lot of people.
Definitely an anti-villain, but he's not a
Ronan
villain.
was, could you say he was a
Oh yeah,
villain?
he was not.
Ronan
he
was-
was an anti-villain too.
Ugh.
No,
But I'm
Here.
saying from a certain perspective that you could
Well, I'll call
classify
Hitler
them
a
as
villain,
that.
so I'm gonna call Ronan a villain.
you know what? No, you cannot. Not those guys.
What?
They're just
You
out
can't
here
call
to,
them
They're
villains.
just out here to kill bad guys.
They're anti-heroes.
Anti-heroes. Indeed.
But I'm saying from another perspective.
For sure.
I'll play devil's advocate here.
Nah,
like
they're
they could
vigilantes. There's a difference.
Who's a
Vigilantes
vigilante?
aren't necessarily evil or villains per se.
Didn't say he was evil. I don't necessarily think that Shang-Chi's dad is evil.
No, I don't either.
Right. I think about it as I do with most things from Spider-Man's
Which is
point
funny
of view,
you say that.
where
Spider-Man's
where
point of view?
if Spider-Man is swinging into a bank robbery and the Punisher is there, and the Punisher just has two gigantic guns, and he's like, "I'm shooting up this entire bank," and then he shoots, and he's, you know, there's civilians and stuff in the bank. It's not just bank robbers there. Spider-Man's gonna stop the Punisher because he's causing the most damage at that point in time or whatever. So he's not a villain, but he's not a great guy either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Andre thinks of life in
I'm like, I
freaking
can
the
relate
view of
this to
Spider-Man.
Hawkeye stuff, but I know you guys haven't seen Hawkeye yet, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
All right, moving on. The dad is dead. The dragon runs into the monster because the sister decides to ride the dragon, and she's coming in hot. Okay,
Yep.
she's
Coming in hot.
Shang-Chi hops on the back of the dragon along with his sister.
and they're about to fight this dude,
And they're fighting this crazy, gigantic tentacle monster.
and the monster
thingamajig.
is winning.
Yeah.
He is going to suck the soul of the dragon.
Of the dragon.
And they were saying if he gets the dragon's soul, then we're done. like basically
Right.
he
gets stronger with the
It's
more
a left
souls that
protector, I would
he's,
assume.
he's done. That's the only protection that they had,
Right.
basically. And he will basically take over the world and suck everybody's souls. Yeah.
Don't suck my soul, bro. So
It's worse than the snap. Okay.
Yeah.
Because then you're just dead. You can't come back from being soul
Right,
snucked.
yeah.
Soul snucked.
soul snucked.
Snugged out of the place.
Sneaky
Being
souls.
snapped, you just technically didn't exist anymore. You were never in existence.
You just bide.
Bye-bye.
Both are terrible, honestly. But
Yeah, so Shang-Chi uses the rings basically to fight off the soul sucker.
yeah, but he's not winning. And so the one dude, the archer dude, is like, we have to shoot the dragon in the throat, aim for the throat, and then he gets his soul sucked.
Dang.
So he couldn't shoot his
Wow.
bow. So Aquafina, Katie's up in there like, I have to shoot this bow, and she doesn't do much usually, but she does it, and the arrow goes right through the dragon's neck, and then
Nails it.
Shang-Chi is able to fight it.
Right.
If it wasn't
it's
for
because,
Katie,
like,
they would have been dead.
He loses grip on the dragon because
Because of his injury.
Yeah.
But if nothing had hit that dragon or hit the monster, like
they're toast.
they're
Yeah.
toast. So
Right.
Katie actually was a huge part of it.
Huge.
So I'm pretty sure that's why Wong invited her at the end. Like,
Right,
you got some
right.
skills, girl. Okay,
You saved the day,
you're
girlfriend.
The next
So
Hawkeye.
yeah, literally, she takes it out. She saves the day. Shang-Chi is there too. He helps.
Oh,
and
he does something. He's literally like puts all of the rings inside the monster, like through the
yeah.
monster's mouth, and he floats up in the air and does like a whole dancey dance. Do you guys remember when
Fancy
you saw when we saw Wreck-It Ralph 2 and then the princess scene where the mermaid is like where they're fighting and the mermaid's like Ariel's like flying in the air like
Yeah.
coming down. It reminds me of that.
Oh, okay.
Where he's like fling, fly, 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 fly. He's like flying
Fling,
around.
fluff, fluff, fluff,
fling, fly. And yeah, he moves the rings around inside the soul sucker's body, and it bursts into a gajillion tiny chunks of meat, and the day is saved. Talo is not destroyed, but
Yeah.
most of its people
But
are
mostly
dead.
And the monster's not just trapped. The monster's dead now.
The monster is dead now. Yeah,
We're
so
assuming.
they don't
I guess
have
that's
to
better,
guard
yeah.
the door or whatever anymore, which is nice.
And the dragon, he's so sweepy after.
Yeah.
She's like, get off of here. I take a nap.
It's night time. Night time for dragon.
I've only been asleep for 100 years, but that put me back.
I'm tired. Y'all don't
I
warm me
sleep
out.
another 100.
So the movie is in its epilogue now, basically, right? They're back in San Francisco, Katie and Sean. They're talking to their friends from the beginning of the movie, which we left that scene out.
That's fine.
But
Nah.
they're just telling the whole story of what's happened to them over the past, like, 3 days or whatever. And the friends are like, you guys, why are you guys making
You're
stuff
so
up?
immature. Like, we're real adults and have real jobs.
You need to
and
get real jobs.
You guys need to stop taking drugs, basically.
And they're like, no, we saved the whole world. We saved the whole universe. And, it's just a shame that we lost so many people that day. And then a portal appears behind her head as she's chastising them. And she turns around and it's Wong. He's like, are you Shang-Chi? I need you. You have the rings? Let's go. You too, Katie. Come on. And they leave.
They were like, well, I guess I'll text you later.
text you later. I'll Venmo you for the drinks. And they step through a portal.
And I like how
Wong
he's
freaking
like,
drinking.
Shang-Chi, and he's like, here, present. He's
Shang-Chi.
so cute.
I love Wong
Oh.
so much. Too.
And the movie
That actor
is
is a great
over.
actor, man.
Who? Wong?
No, Shang-Chi.
Oh,
Oh.
Simu Liu.
Simu Liu. Yeah, he did a really, really good
I
job
really, really, really like him.
in this movie. Have you guys seen him in anything else?
No.
I've seen
I
him in
haven't.
Kim's
Oh, you
Convenience.
saw him in
Right,
Kim's
yeah. So
Convenience.
we watched an episode
Oh,
or two
yeah,
of
yeah,
Kim's
yeah.
Convenience.
It's kind of odd.
I mean,
I couldn't get super into it.
Right, I wasn't super into it, but he was good on the show or whatever. And it's cool to see him rise to this level of stardom. Just
Yeah,
from
Emily
being on
sent us
that.
that thing that he tweeted.
No,
like-
I didn't send that. That was
Oh, it
hilarious,
was
though. Who
Luis
sent that?
He
Lou, did you
tweeted
send it?
in
Yeah.
like 2016 or something?
Something about, like,
something
hey,
about
give
Captain
us an
America was
Asian-
good, but when are you gonna do an Asian superhero?
Yeah.
And then when he got cast, he replied to that tweet and said, "Thanks for getting back to me."
And well, he did it. He took a picture of himself with the Shang-Chi
yeah,
Billboard.
in the background. He's like, "Thanks for getting back at me."
it's freaking hilarious.
Well, and it's like,
Very good.
how did you become Shang-Chi? He's like, Like any other Canadian, you asked nicely.
He's like, I hired myself by a tweet. Yes, that's what happened.
That's cute.
Thanks
So
for blessing
funny.
us, Canada.
So there were 2 post-credit scenes
Yes.
for this movie in classic Marvel fashion.
Let's talk about the second one first. So the second one is Xialing. We see her in her childhood room. She's got posters on the wall and stuff like that. She's packing stuff up. And she moves through the base of operations. She sits in the throne chair or whatever with the 10 Rings logo behind her. She's like, let's get started, all right? And she's got all kinds of ladies out here training. So she's starting
I was like,
up-
oh no, she's making a lady 10 rings.
yeah,
You know?
she's starting up the 10 Rings under her own leadership, and she's gonna run it how she wants
Fight
to
Club.
run it. Yeah. Fight Club and all kinds of crimey stuff. So I guess she's gonna be a bad guy, good guy.
We don't know because we don't know what her motive is.
Right,
yet.
exactly. We don't know
know
what
that
she's
she
So do you
wants
think
to build her own empire.
When you see that, though, are you thinking she's going to be like a 10 Rings leader? Or are you thinking she's going to be like...
Dude, I felt like she was gonna be evil.
Well, hold on. Do you think she's going to like do her Fight Club on a bigger scale now here?
No.
No, I feel
No,
like
I
she's
think
gonna
she's
be
gonna
evil.
take over stuff.
Yeah,
Just
I
do
think-
10
I think
Rings.
She
she's
was
in a
always jealous of her dad's empire and being in the shadows. So now that her dad's dead, she's
Okay.
like, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think she's taking over the 10 Rings organization. So whatever it is that they
rebranding
do nowadays in the modern era,
and rebranding it.
yeah,
Sure.
she-
Okay, that's what I thought too.
she's in there running things.
Cool.
We don't know exactly what her motive is, like what she's gonna do.
Right,
with the
what she
10
wants to
rings.
do with that power.
So it's
you know,
funny
but-
too because after we watched, I don't know, I guess it was Black Widow with that lady. I don't know what her
Yes.
name is.
Oh, yeah.
Now every time I see something, I'm thinking like, oh, that would be a
Oh,
good
Yelena?
setup for like a
Yelena?
good bad, not Yelena,
The lady
blue-haired lady.
Fontaine,
Yeah,
Oh.
Julie
You know,
Louis-Dreyfus.
which she
Which
Yelena.
is all it is gonna tie in.
Which
to.
Yelena as well is going to be one of those like good bad characters.
Right,
Like
exactly.
they're doing good things, but you know,
What
Some
organization are
gray
you with?
area
You know,
stuff going on.
exactly.
Anywho.
So that's exciting, and you know, eventually they're going to announce a Shang-Chi sequel, and I assume that that's going to be a major part of it and whatnot.
oh,
right?
for sure.
So
I
that's
want to
very
see
cool.
him with Doctor Strange too. What if he came
Yeah.
in? Do we know if he's going to be in the Multiverse of Madness?
I don't know that. Possibly.
I'm so excited for
but-
the movie. I can't even talk about it.
So yeah, that brings us to the other post-credit scene, the first post-credit scene, and it takes off right from where the movie ended. So Wong takes them through a portal, and they're examining the rings. And Wong is like,
They're in Kunlun.
I've never seen this before.
or you don't think they're in an inner sanctum, or are they?
they're
in,
I thought they were in
Are they-
Kunlun. He said we heard it here in Kunlun.
Kamartaj.
So,
In
or
Kamartaj.
Kamartaj.
Yes.
So I was assuming they're in Kamartaj.
I think Wong is in Kamartaj, not at the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York.
Yeah.
I think
I don't
he's
think they're at the
separate from
Sanctum.
Doctor Strange right now. And the only reason I think that is because of the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, and Wong like leaves through a portal at some point there. So I don't know where these take place time-wise or whatever, but in this scene they're examining the rings, and he's got Dr. Bruce Banner on the phone and Captain Marvel on the phone.
I
They're
wonder
on
why
the-
his hand was messed up. Like, what happened to him? Did he like
So-
trip making waffles?
So,
We told you when he did the snapback, he messed up
I
his
said I
arm.
wonder.
when you were watching it, because you
Yeah.
remember that part.
Oh!
I
I
said
thought
I
you meant
wondered,
you still
but then
wonder.
no.
I was like, I
said I
freaking
wondered
told
why
you.
his hand was like that,
I
and
was
then
like,
you
I
guys
told
were
you,
Making
told me.
waffles is that what you said?
Yeah, making waffles.
In the
on me.
morning, I'm making waffles.
Oh,
Waffles are so delicious but dangerous. So yeah, it's Bruce Banner, and the last time we saw him, he was like the Professor Hulk, right? He had fused Hulk and Bruce Banner together, did the snap, and that was the last we saw of him, right? So it's very interesting that he is back down to Bruce Banner.
I'm just
going
gonna say thank God. I did not enjoy that.
I didn't either. I hated it.
I
Audrey
don't
loved
like
it,
it.
but
I loved it. So he's examining him too. He's like, I ain't never seen this before. It doesn't look like anything I've ever seen on Earth with my Earth science knowledge. And he goes over to Captain Marvel and he's like, yeah, I haven't seen any of this on any of the alien planets I've been to either. So I don't know what's going on with these. But it looks really old and really powerful. And
they think it's older than 1,000 years.
Right. They mentioned that when Sean used the rings, they felt it in Kamartaj, and they dug in deeper and saw that there's some kind of beacon relaying a message to somewhere about something for someone. And I don't know what any of this means. I have zero
The first
clue.
time I watched the post-credit scene, I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So what scene was it when they go to? Is it another post-credit scene? Where is it that they
It's still
start?
connected to this.
Oh, is it
one.
this?
So.
Oh, okay.
So Wong is telling them basically like, welcome, your lives are going to be like this
About to
forever.
change, yeah.
You should go home and get some rest because crazy things are going to happen. And they say, and they go to karaoke and Wong is
And
so
Wong
down.
goes too.
Oh, welcome to the Hotel
California.
Such a lovely place. Such a lovely place.
I can't hear that song anymore without secretly dying on the inside, because on multiple occasions when I go to get my haircut at the barbershop, this song will play.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Seriously, this song
My
will
mom hates Hotel
this song will
California.
play like over the speakers in the in the shop. And Andre and Michelle can attest, and Luis knows this, that I am not just blind, I am uber blind. They tried on my glasses earlier and were like, oh my god.
Holy moly.
And so
You might be Daredevil. I don't know.
You might be Daredevil, Mom.
So anywho, when I get my hair cut, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I literally cannot see people. So I don't even look in general eyes of like areas of people's eyes, because I don't want them to think I'm just staring at them, right? So I just like look down, and all of the song will be going, doing his thing, everyone's just talking, and then the chorus comes on, and all of these dudes, okay, like the guys who are cutting hair are like pretty fancy Mexican dudes, right? And then there's like the cholos waiting to get their hair cut and stuff, and everyone, they're like drinking their beers and there's and then everyone's like, welcome to the Hotel California. I'm like, oh
That's
my
freaking
god.
hilarious.
And I can't see anything, so
very
I'm just
funny.
like looking at my lap like, oh my god. And it's happened multiple times.
That's so funny that's what like you associated with. It's the complete opposite for me. So every time we would drive to Southern California to go to Disneyland, like as a kid or even as a teenager or a young adult, there's like a oldies station on the radio in SoCal that my parents really like. So whenever we get like right over the grapevine, they put it on. And they're like, yes, the oldies station. And they'll be singing their duets or whatever. And Hotel California comes on and my mom is always like, ugh, Hotel California, I hate this song. And so for that reason, I love it. And so I'm like, yeah, welcome to the Hotel California.
Your mom should not get her haircut in this Cholo barbershop.
No, she should not.
If she doesn't want to have the same haircut as me and Lou, she doesn't need to go there. Since we have matching cuts.
She does not like that song. I don't know why. I like it.
Probably because it's overplayed.
I guess, yeah, probably.
It's like Don't Stop Believing. There comes a point where you gotta stop.
Yeah,
Can I
that's
stop
true.
believing now, please?
So I'm assuming, I know it was a pandemic movie, but I think it still made money. 'Cause
This
it was
was-
in the theater exclusively for a month.
That's correct. This
Or at
movie
some
was
point you
in
think
theaters.
Alabama isn't sweet.
Sweet Home Alabama.
That's a least favorite.
Yeah, so this movie did play in theaters for 45 days before it came to Disney Plus. Let's see here. It had a budget of $150 million, and it had a box office return worldwide of $432 million.
And that's just in 45 days?
In 45 days,
Dang.
yes. So I believe this is, to date, the best that a movie has done during the pandemic.
Yeah,
even
I
though
was going to
it's
say
coming
that's pretty good.
at the tail end of it, basically.
For
but
sure.
yeah, it made all the money in the theaters here.
I thought it came out really fast onto Disney Plus.
Right,
That
it did.
But
And
they're going to do the same thing with Encanto. Like, it's going to come out on Christmas Eve.
yes.
Like let them go to the theaters as long as they release them faster.
Right.
Whatever.
So that's the
Yeah, I
thing
think
now.
that's fine.
That
That way you
seems
don't
to
have to
be
pay for it on
the
the-
new model is you put a movie out in theaters, it stays there for 45 days, and then it'll come to streaming services or
so
whatever.
rather
it's
than
fine.
having like a Disney Plus,
Premiere.
yeah.
Yeah, they would rather make that money in the theaters.
And now that the theaters are open, they could do that.
Yes.
And I mean, I enjoy
It makes
that.
more sense too, because then you're getting per ticket versus per.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, and then I
Household
can
or
pick and
whatever.
choose what I want to go to the movie
For
theater
sure.
for. Like,
Right.
I wanted to see that on the big screen, so I'm going to go.
And the
But
theaters won't be mad at the movie studios. Which
Yeah.
they
other
have
things
been
I don't
all
need to
year.
see on the big screen, and I could wait
Yeah.
45 days or
Exactly.
whatever. You know?
So
Speaking of, if you haven't seen Encanto, go.
oh
yeah,
yeah.
you should go see Encanto in the theater.
It is
honestly.
good.
It is quite good, but
I already wanna see it
as you
again.
said, that is coming out to Disney Plus on December 24th, and then Eternals, which also is in theaters still, I believe that's coming to Disney Plus on January 12th. So,
Why's that one taking longer?
They're really trying
well, I
to
think
push
it came
that
out a little bit
one.
later, didn't it?
Dude,
Yeah.
Like
It's
again,
cool.
I haven't seen it, but I
it's
just
okay.
get a feeling like it's a bust, man.
I'll let you have your own opinion.
Yeah, I would say it's worth watching at least once. But you form your opinions after you.
What is
You know, Luis always has strong opinions of things before he watches
What
them.
does this have on
They're
the
usually
tomato
not
meter?
wrong.
So on Rotten Tomatoes,
I don't want to watch that movie.
That one. That's why I said usually.
Did you see that ugly face I made too?
Looking like my sister over there.
on Rotten Tomatoes, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings holds a 91%
All right.
on the tomato meter, and it has a audience score of 98%.
Okay.
The critics' consensus says Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings isn't entirely free of Marvel's familiar formula, but this exciting origin story expands the MCU in more ways than one. There's also an audience consensus. It says Shang-Chi covers new cultural ground for the MCU without losing any of the action, comedy, or emotion Marvel's movies are known for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah and yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
agree with
Never
that.
mind. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
Critics always say stupid.
I haven't given a movie like a super high rating in a while. I feel like I want to go like 9.5 on this one. Like I don't have any qualms really. Like it's a really good, refreshing Marvel movie. And for some of the movies that have been pushed out during the pandemic or Black Widow or whatever, I was disappointed. So it's like, wow, cool. I got a good Marvel movie. So now I'm hopeful for the next phase of Marvel movies. Versus when I just saw Black Widow, I was like, yikes, I'm not hopeful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really refreshing, really good. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. Yeah.
Okay. 9 or 9.5?
Probably 9.5. I'm going to go 9.5. Luis.
I'll go solid 9. It was awesome.
9.
I wish there was more flowing kung fu.
Like the airbender
Wind
type.
Kung fu.
Right.
Yeah, I could watch
More
that stuff
crouching
all
tiger,
day.
hidden dragon
Style,
type of stuff.
yeah.
I could watch that like all day. Yeah. Emily.
The second time I watched it, I like it better. The second time. I don't know. I repeated myself twice, but it's fine. I'm going to give it a 9.5. Very good.
Okay.
Andre?
I think I'm also going to give it a solid 9. I don't really have anything bad to say about this movie at all. Like the only thing that even kind of irks me is like
The Grindelows.
well, with the final climactic scene, I kind of wish that the dad was the ultimate one to be defeated instead of the mega soul sucker thing. I don't know how they could have reversed that and made it work or whatever, but I kind of wish that they had taken that thing off the board and then Shang-Chi and his father could have had their ultimate face off and then the movie ended.
I wonder, here, my only question on that he wouldn't have any redemption. Though.
Right, which is what they ended up doing, and
You know what I mean?
I do like that he had some.
Yeah,
We didn't
no, I
want
agree.
Shang-Chi to actually kill his dad. This
Right.
way, at least.
Well, not so much for that, but I mean for the dad. Like he
Yes.
would have
Yeah.
had no redeeming,
He
ending.
He realized his wrongs. He gave up the power of the rings, and then he went and died to save his son, which is cool.
But I
do
agree
like
with
that.
you that it changes the. I guess that's what makes it more superhero-y
Right.
at the end.
Yeah, and it kind of just like when the dad died, I was like, oh, he's done. He's gone already. Oh, okay. I guess we'll wrap this up with fighting this monster thing. That's the only negative thing I can even think of.
There was one weird moment, only one weird moment of CG on the bus scene, but other than that, I was like, the action was flawless.
Top notch.
I agree.
Indeedy. So yeah, that has been Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Let us know what you thought of this newer Marvel movie. Hit us up at the Walt Vault Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go to all those places.
Next week,
On our next episode, we are going to be...
a Christmas episode.
Yeah, we're throwing in one Christmas one for you.
Just one.
That's actually really good because the last couple years we did like 4 because we were every week, and you know what? That's a lot.
Yeah.
Although I have watched quite a few Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Oh no, me
But
too.
already.
But having to watch them and having to record them is a lot of Christmas.
So
Right.
we're gonna do one, and we're gonna do a classic.
Yeah, we're keeping it light.
We're gonna do Home Alone because it is on Disney Plus. We're gonna do the original one.
Yes, the 1990 live-action film starring Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone.
It's older than most of us on this podcast.
It's older than me.
Well, yeah, we know.
He's older than me. But
It's not older
Louise.
than Lou. But it's close.
What do you mean? When did
It came out in 1990. Lou just got surprised by his own age.
Movie. I was like, you little
The second one.
silly mulligans.
Silly mulligans.
So yeah, we're gonna check out the Home Alone. It is on Disney Plus. It is not a Disney movie, but Disney owns it, so we're gonna check it out and bring that review to you next week. In the meantime, you can keep up with us on social media. We are at the Walt Vault Pod, as I said. Slide into our DMs. Let us know what you thought of the movie. You can leave an email by going to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. We have merch available on our store at thewaltvaultpod.com. Go there, get yourself an ornament or a mug or what else we got?
Or my face on your shirt.
That's right. You can get a face.
Shirts.
Luis's
Sweaters.
face on your shirt, your sweater, your tank top, whatever you want. You can have Luis's face everywhere. Or you can have our logo, but I prefer Luis's face.
So does Michael.
Go there, do that. Support us. You can also support us on Patreon.
Luis.
We're patreon.com.
We are done with you.
/the Walt Vault. You can go there and get a little bit of extra content from us every once in a while for only $1, and that helps us keep the lights on in this dark, dark vault. I think that's been it for this week, you guys. We will see you next time for some Home Alone goodness. The vault is now closed.